Sheesh. East versus West 14. And I am back. Matthew Styles in the house. Returning from a 2-month hiatus and perhaps going on another one, but I try to make sure to give you some quality content each time I upload. And that's why it takes so long. I just have to pull the ideas together from all sorts of different places. And I've also been a little bit busy working on my book, selling random shit out of my house to make ends meet, indulging in stupid hobbies. Mind hasn't been entirely on arm wrestling, but right now it is. It is. And I'd like to talk to you about trash talk. Particularly the kind of trash talk that Devon does, the kind that goes really overboard. And tonight is the perfect time to make this video because Devon really, he went places that, you know, a lot of people would say he probably shouldn't have gone tonight. If you've been a Devon fan, you know this is where he goes, this is what he does. But my dad was watching with me tonight, and he said, you know what, I don't like this Devon that showed up tonight. And I said, why not? And he said, well, you know, he's more of an antagonist than a professional. And you know what I said? I said he's both. Because that's his job. It's to fight. And a big part of the fight is mental. So now that you know which side I'm on, I'm going to try to address a couple different perspectives here. And give you 3 reasons why I personally think that trash talk in the sport of arm wrestling is not bullying, it's warriorship, and it's integral to the sport. So, reason number 1, let me try and remember what the fuck it was. The last time I tried to make this video was like a week ago. Oh yeah, that's right. Arm wrestling, just like any other thing you do in life with other people, is based on a social contract. What is a social contract? Well, it's an agreement, often unspoken, that you come to with the other people engaging with the thing that you're doing. With your family, you have a certain social contract. With your friends, you have one. With your coworkers, you have one. And with your fellow sportsmen and fellow combatants, you have one. Now, see, I drew a line between sportsmen and combatants there, and there's a reason for that. There is a disagreement in the arm wrestling community about whether we are sportsmen or fighters. People like Devon think arm wrestling is a combat sport. Other people, not so much. They're not so sure about all the antagonistic behavior going on. Well, if you look at the social contracts of most combat sports, you'll see the fighters going at each other a little more than they might in non-combat sports. It's just the essence of the activity. It's fighting. And if you're fighting in real life with real stakes, you sure as hell bet you are going to pull out all the stops, do everything you possibly can to win. Well, in arm wrestling, you're not pulling out all the stops to do everything you can because there are rules, but you are gonna use tactics, mental tactics against your opponent. And I think that needs to be normalized. I think people need to understand that, well, this is point number 2, why I think trash talk is warriorship. People need to understand that this is fiction in a big way. The characters that we put on for arm wrestling are fiction. When he's off the table, when he's not prepping for a match, you see Devon largely being a super supportive, super caring, super loving guy. And yeah, he's always playing, he's always ribbing, but you can tell, if you've known him long enough, that this is in the spirit of fostering healthy competition. This is not in the spirit of trying to break someone down permanently and shut them out of the community or make them feel miserable or anything like that. He is testing people. He's testing people. I realized in editing that I didn't flesh out point number 2 very well, so I'm just gonna read off a couple things I wrote down. Basically, because the characters that arm wrestlers embody are fictional, arm wrestlers can act like warriors on the table without really hurting each other. I think that should be celebrated, not reprimanded. And because arm wrestlers can safely act out those fictions in matches, they can squash any real beef they may have and remain friends on the table. That's the other side of being a warrior. You know when to fight and when not to fight. Devon generally keeps his trash talk limited to friendly banter, promotion, and fight day. He tries to keep life and fiction separate. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like he goes around picking serious fights all the time. His fighting is usually done in the spirit of arm wrestling warriorship. And if there's a real conflict, it often comes from passion for arm wrestling or from care for something else in his life, not from malice. The Babkin beef was a fight that got a little too real. Babkin, not Devon, was the one who took it to that extreme. I still don't know exactly what he said to Devon over text, but judging by Devon and Jody's reactions, it seems like Babkin took Devon's gay jokes about Babkin and Dennis way, way too seriously and said something that took the fight beyond fiction. Even then, Devon didn't get into an altercation with Babkin. He offered him an MMA match, which still hasn't happened for whatever reason. He tried to keep the fight fictional, is my point. And if that's not a testament to Devon's good intentions, I don't know what is. You can look at Devon's gay jokes as a test, as funny as it sounds, and Babkin failed that test. Well, that brings me to my third point. Trash talk tests you, it tests your mettle, and this is the type of behavior that men who have been in hard labor and who have been in fighting sports and who have been in the military kind of start to cultivate in themselves and in others. Men test each other. And I swear Devon's intention is not to break anyone down permanently. It's to help them engage in this process of small deaths. You need to have small deaths. You need to break little pieces of yourself off. You need to deflate your ego at times in order to take that step back and see where you could grow. And Devon, allows people to do this with him. He takes huge hits from people. I mean, he put his heart out there with Levon and allowed himself to be crushed. And he acknowledges Levon now as a great, great champion. And from the looks of it, they seem to be decent friends now. They've gotten past some of that beef that they had. Levon, seems to kind of understand where Devon was coming from with the whole 415-pound pussy thing. Now, you could definitely argue that was going too far. And yeah, I would say maybe there are times when Devon does go too far. But calling him a bully, it's a bit of a stretch, because this is not the bully you experienced in middle school who genuinely wants you to have a bad time and just takes pleasure out of your suffering. Now, Devon is complex. There may be a part of him that takes a little bit of pleasure in people's suffering. He's admitted that. But it's different because he is genuinely trying to foster growth in other athletes and in the sport. Bullies don't have that foresight. They don't have that vision. They don't have that love. And that love is really, really clear if you look at Devon. And I would encourage you, if you see Devon as a bully, just watch more of his content. And if you see other arm wrestlers or even other people in your life who act like Devon does as bullies, and you have a hard time sort of processing what they say, try to look at how they act in different areas of their life. Don't just look at how they act when they're in fight mode. Look at how they act when they're at rest. Do they treat you well? I'm not saying to excuse the behavior of an abuser or something just because they're nice to you part of the time. I'm just asking you to see if maybe part of the fighting mode that they have is a character, or if it is meant to test you. Because You know, I've gone through this process with a few people in my life, rougher people, like my partner's grandpa. He's a real rough guy, and he is the type to test you. He's been a working man his whole life. He's been in construction crews, and the guys just rib each other nonstop. And he does that to me, and it was really hard to begin with. And I thought, damn, this guy's a bully, he's a blah, 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 whatever. But I came to realize that he genuinely wants me to be the best that I can be. And he's done a hell of a lot to help me get there. So sometimes you just got to take your lumps with these types of people. And I think Devon is one of those types of people who is definitely worth giving another shot, even if he makes you feel, or makes your favorite athlete feel like shit once in a while. Again, coming at you from editing, Chance Shaw was an impeccable example of dealing with Devon's trash talk. On the table, he was witty, he rolled with the punches, he dished it, back where it came from. It was just very fun to watch, and you could tell, I think, that Chance understood where the trash talk was coming from. He understood that it was fiction. He understood that it was meant to test him and help him grow. He understood all of this stuff, and he understood the social contract that you enter when you are a professional arm wrestler, and especially when you are getting into an arm wrestling match with Devon fucking Larratt. He understood those things, and he did a great job, and he did make that reflection video, which if you need any more clarity on how he feels about Devon, I mean, that's it right there. Watch that video. There are plenty of people in this community who understand where Devon is coming from, and you can be one of them. You don't have to live in the shadow of the Devon bully that you have been imagining. You can see him as a complex, multi-dimensional person who does, yes, have flaws and does go too far, but he's not that monster that you might think. You can get stronger physically, mentally, all of that. So just my 2 cents. I hope you all enjoyed East versus West 14. I gotta say that was one of the best East versus Wests I've ever seen. Fantastic card, great energy from the crowd. I think Travis did a fantastic job of lifting the crowd up and out of that sweaty smog that they were in. Yeah, so I gotta get to family game night now, play Mario Party with my family. But I wish you all the best. I'm gonna steal Coach Ray's thing. Stay strong, love arm wrestling. See you later.